When we last left you, we were talking about Looms. Looms started down in Miami Beach, and we played the ads that starred Milton Berle. Remember? And he was doing all the characters
right, yeah,
in there.
Doing all his characters, he was dressing like a lady and shit.
A lady, dressing like...
cowboy, wasn't he?
He did
like
that. He dressed like... remember the cliche, I don't know if it was Brazilian or just South American, where they'd have the fruit on their head?
Oh, yeah,
you know, like that.
Miranda.
Yeah, like there's no way that's appropriate at all anymore because nobody dresses like that. But he was a little kid talking like this, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, this is hacky even for that time. But anyway, so he did all these different ads for Looms, and that's where we left off. So now going into round 2 of all of this, we've got a bunch here for you. The next chain that disappeared was Steak and Ale.
Remember Steak and Ale?
I don't remember this at all. They had these in Jersey?
Yeah.
Have you been?
I've been a couple times. A couple times when I was younger. I remember them more like when I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Than when I was a kid, but I do remember Steak and Ale.
Steak and Ale was founded in 1966 in Dallas, Texas. The restaurant offered diners a new kind of vibe. It was branded as cheap and affordable, and became very popular because the steak was always to die for. A lot of these companies all had these steak things, but they all look the same as we've been going through this. When you'd see like Sizzlers and Beefsteak Charlie's and full steak meal for $2.99, and you look at the steak and you're
with shrimp.
I know, yeah. You gotta come for the free shrimp. They're like they look like the sea monkeys that you'd send away for. Yeah, like that's essentially the shrimp that you're eating. But the steaks,
the brine shrimp.
Yeah, the brine shrimp. Thank you. The steaks always look kind of. They're like USDA choice. Like apparently that was big and important back in the 70s and the 80s to say it was USDA beef or USDA choice, USDA prime.
And it's like you don't really know what it means.
It just means like, okay, so there's some sort of governing body telling you that there's not bacteria or worms in the fucking thing.
Yeah, it's not fucking dog meat.
Right. But you don't know to what level of the meat that you were getting. I mean, you're more aware of it now. But back then, you just like, oh, it's steak is a steak. And it all looks like they were all well done. Like, that seemed to be the way to do it for commercial. Have it all well done. And it's like, this doesn't look appetizing at all. And it looked like half an inch thick.
Always a guy with like a chef's hat and Chef White serving it too. Like, turning towards the camera.
Right.
With the fucking steak.
Look at the big pompous presentation. It's like, no, cut down the circumstance here and just get me a better cut of meat. It all looks like those, remember Tad steaks? You used to see them in Manhattan a lot. They used to be everywhere. You'd walk in and they were just fucking, they were like a half an inch thicker, not even half an inch, like a quarter inch thicker than like a steakum that you would use for cheesesteaks, but they were just a little bit thicker, so that counted as a steak, and that's what you would get. It was real cheap.
Really?
Steak and Ale. Yeah, Steak and Ale. However, in their attempt to keep up with the competition, they started lowering their prices and offering free meals. That always seems to be the problem here, is that either they don't know how to adapt their menu, they add too much of their shit on their menu so they don't have an identity, or they start comping a lot. That was the problem with Beefsteak Charlie's.
Man. It's weird that they're like, I know how we can bring people in. Let's give everything away for free.
Yeah. That's what happened with Beefsteak Charlie's, remember? They were like, all the free sangria and wine or beer that you can drink. It's like, well, I'm paying $3 for a meal, and I'm drinking, like, what would be, I guess, back then, a $25 bar tab, which is a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, by today's standards, that's maybe 2-3 drinks for yourself, but like $25, you're getting dollar beers. That's a lot of fucking booze that you're getting. For the price of $3-4 of a steak and a salad bar, and you're going there. Yeah, I ordered that stuff, but you're really just getting the free beer. You're not touching the rest of the shit. You went there to drink, not to eat, and that seems to be a big downfall for a lot of these things. So here we are again with offering free meals. In the end, their plan failed, and the last location was closed in 2008. Because it's still in demand in early 2017, the parent company started offering to franchise. So Steak and Ale fans will be happy to know that it was on its way to becoming a fully revived restaurant really soon. It didn't happen. This list might be a little bit old, but 2017, there's no Steak and Ale commercials. There's no places anywhere. So they're like, oh, we're going to franchise again. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it.
Yeah, it can't be a kitschy thing. It has to have a broad consumer appeal, not just like, hey, I remember Steak and Ale.
Yeah. You know, there's plenty of other things that I like. If one still was functioning or existing, or I could see a video of it, I'd be like, oh my god, that's pretty cool. I want to check that out. And then you go, oh yeah, oh there's a Sam Goody. Wow, I can't believe a Sam Goody's still open. You go in there and look, and then you go, oh yeah, CDs were $18. That's why Sam Goody went away. And then you're like, oh, this was kind of cool, and you walk out and you don't think about it again.
Yeah, it's nostalgia has a definite ceiling in terms of price.
Yep. You like to think about it. You like to see the ads, the advertisements, whatever. But it's like, oh, let's open up another one. No, not really. I don't want to go. Blockbuster's back. Really? There's a Blockbuster? Yeah, you want to go in and rent movies? No, why? I can stay at home and click a button and I got it right there.
Yeah. That really changed, man. Like from I remember the first video store I ever walked into. It was probably like 1984.
Was it a mom and pop place?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always
smelled like an attic. Did they have the beads to the adult section hanging?
Yep, they had the beads.
Yep.
It was one of these. It was like you used to have to pay and to be a member.
Right.
Like I would give them $25 to join up to XYZ video rental, and then they would turn around and give me like 12 free rentals. So you kind of broke even. You were just paying in advance. I guess they were just like, let's try to guarantee these people are going to spend some money here.
Was it like a little punch card or a sticker thing that they put on your card?
I remember them having like it wasn't a punch card. It was like they would write it down though.
Okay.
They had like one of those, what are they called? File card boxes.
Like the Rolodex?
Yeah, something like that. And that's how they would keep track. And I remember just going in and being like, wowed. I can't believe there are this many fucking movies. Because I used to go to the movie. Like, that's all I did as a kid was go to the movies because there was nothing else to fucking do where we lived.
Yeah, I did. I watched, well, I'm a little bit after you. Not by much, but I'm a little bit after you. So we had HBO in the house, in the movie channel.
Right.
So you had stuff there, but again, that was all subject to whatever they were airing. So you got to watch movies, but it was at their time schedule. Going into the video rental store, I was also of the era where you had video game rentals. So you were not just getting the movies, but you would go and like, oh, I want to get a movie. Oh, I want to get a brand new Nintendo game to bring home and play this week, or maybe two, those kind of things. And you found out you had a free rental, like, oh my God, now like the whole world opened up to you. You go back out there and trying to find another one to do your free rental. But yeah, I love those, but I don't think I'd walk back in there again like these old restaurants. If like, oh, we open this back up again. It's not the same as you remembered it. If they opened Ground Round, I always talk about my affinity for Ground Round. And if they opened up a Ground Round around here, it's not the same. Yeah. It's not the dark green. It's not the dank, dingy kind of feel with the peanut shells all over the floor, and
the TV screens would have all promotional shit.
Yeah, and the black and white cartoons with no audio that were projected to the walls, and the smell of the burning popcorn machine. Like it was just it was a time, and you can't recreate the time. It's even if you could recreate the aesthetics of it, but it's just not the time and the feel of it.
When did Steak and Ale? When did you say it opened? In the 2000s.
Hold on, I'll tell you. 1 second. Steak and Ale opened 1966.
1966.
And then closed in 2008.
Oh, it's closed in 2008. Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember ever seeing a Steak and Ale. But I have some ads here if you want to check them out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I think I got 2 of them here for this. Look how bad these are.
What's the matter, kid? First night jitters? This night will be unforgettable.
The feeling's so agreeable.
It seems like nothing's impossible. Oh my gosh.
This night is unmistakably steak and ale.
Hospitable.
Impeccable. Delectable.
Incredible. How am I doing, fellas?
This night is unmistakably steak and ale.
It's like Disney produced it.
Right. I will say this. I kind of want that to come back. That format, that style of doing commercials for restaurants. Because we've seen it with fast food, and you know it mostly from fast food. Like, you deserve a break today from McDonald's, and then have it your way from Burger King. Like, this used to be a fast food staple of singing and dancing and all that stuff. Kevin did it in Clerks 2 when they did the Jackson 5 dance number.
Right.
In there.
The parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't for an ad, but it was essentially a throwback to those ads that we grew up on where they would do that kind of thing. They don't do that now. We're so far away from that. I think if somebody brought that back, an agency brought that back, I think they would just, what's old is new again kind of deal. So if you had a restaurant chain that was doing the full dance routine and the over-the-top corniness of this, I think it would hit now. One from a retrospective of a different time, a happier time maybe for people, but also because everything is so angry and shitty lately that if you just saw the complete polar opposite of that on your television, if it was a TV show acting like that, you're like, look at this cornball TV show because the networks are trying to play it safe. But if you saw McDonald's go back to that, or Wendy's or any of those kind of things that started doing that, you'd be like, that's awesome. I kind of like what they're doing here. Like they went back to
the overly produced, polished commercial.
Hell, we talked about the Miller ads from the 80s. Remember the sports bar where it'd just be a collection of characters, but you would have like Bob Uecker would be there, and then John Madden would show up. Rodney Dangerfield was there. Norm from Cheers. Like that kind of thing. If you went back, if Miller brought that back because it was theirs, bring that back, and you did it in a modern way where like Tom Brady and Gronkowski are in there, and then all of a sudden there's Ed O'Neill, playing his Al Bundy kind of guy again, or you just brought people in from different facets. I think would be huge.
I think it would be sad to see Al Bundy at this point.
Not being Al Bundy, but if he just kind of it's Ed O'Neill, but it seems like he looks a bit Al Bundy-ish. Because he's known for two different things now. He has Married with Children, but also Modern Family for 11 years. And like he's known as Jay Pritchard. But just having him there and him just kind of doing maybe the vocal inflection a little bit, he could still look how he is now. But people would be like, "Oh my God, that's enough to trigger a nostalgic response to it, without ruining him or his image or any of that kind of thing." Bring some of these people back into the fold. With modern day sports stars, if you had Shaq back there making pizzas, like all this stupid shit going on, I think
Shaq would do it. Shaq appears to do anything.
Shaq's like Snoop Dogg, but
like you can't get away from him.
They either buy into a lot of businesses because they're smart and they're like, I want to do this, I want to do this now, or people want to throw money at them to do something and they go, yeah, I'll do it. Like Snoop does all that shit with Martha Stewart, where he was doing those web specials and now he's doing ads with them.
Right.
He's doing the thing where he's walking around in a fucking pimp bathrobe holding a conch shell like it's a cell phone, drinking Corona. It's like, but it's okay. It's not like, it's obviously selling out, but he went past the sellout point to now it's okay if Snoop does it. If other people do it, you kind of go, this is out of place. But the fact that Snoop Dogg shows up in a weird spot that he shouldn't be in, you're okay with it.
Well, you've accepted that he is no longer gangsta.
Oh yeah, he's the farthest thing from gangster. I mean, he's WWE all the time because his niece is in the WWE. So he shows up for like WrestleMania. He does the theme song for her entrance stuff. He's doing Martha Stewart stuff. He's doing Corona stuff. He's doing Hot Pockets. When he
saw him on a
Pocket Like It's Hot.
Too. Is that what
That's what it was. In the late 2000s, it was like Pocket Like. He had a song called Drop It Like It's Hot.
Yeah.
And then the thing became, he did Pocket Like It's Hot, and it was just people taking Hot Pockets out of the sleeve in the microwave and all that. And good for him, man. That guy's got to be, close to like $500 million.
Yeah,
in his life
made
for
a couple bucks in his time.
Everything, and nobody hates the guy. There's people that were trying to hate him when they announced the Super Bowl. Like, this guy was up for was on trial for murder and all this other. It's like, yeah, but he got off in the sense of that they said he didn't do it. It wasn't like a mistrial like an OJ thing. He was just it was done and he was cleared of charges. So the world kind of accepted it and they liked him, and they don't give a shit what Snoop does because they like Snoop.
Yeah. And honestly, even if you found out, like, oh my God, Snoop did kill the guy, like, would you even care?
Nah, not at this point.
Yeah.
I'm really like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh well, he learned.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying about, like, if they brought back the sports bar kind of feel for Miller, or if they brought back the singing and dancing from these ads to a restaurant, like Applebee's kinda is doing it. They had some weird kind of country music infusion, and then that guy came out with that song that's all about going to Applebee's on a date night, and then that blew up. So now that's incorporated into their ad, which it's a terrible song, but they're sort of doing that. If other companies came back in like, we're doing a full song and dance number, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, we're going back to the 70s here with this.
Are you guys familiar with Steak and Ale? we're gonna ape their every move.
Yeah, we're just gonna lift everything from it. I have another Steak and Ale ad here for you, just because they were so ridiculous, and I don't know if these, looking back at these old ads, if they honestly thought that everything had to be this kind of whitewashed, this kind of fairy tale packaged Madison Avenue style society, or if there was a lot of drug use, or maybe both. Because sometimes you're sitting there and you go, what about this couple is having a romantic interlude and you're going on here like it's some sort of like luxurious adult vacation, and then they're eating at Shake Shack, and you're like, what? Like, how did you draw to that? But could have been. Here's another one here from for Steak and Ale.
Tonight is unmistakably.
I really hate to leave.
Tonight is unmistakably.
You know what tonight is?
It's fuck night.
Tonight is unmistakably.
Tonight's the night we have dinner at my place.
Tonight is unmistakably. Tonight is in.
It was a wonderful day.
Tonight is unmistakably. Steak and Ale.
Here's to our place.
To beaten.
Not nearly as fun as the last one.
No.
It's always like some guy who's supposed to be like handsome and shit, and you're just like, he's not handsome. He's a regular looking guy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he's wearing the tweed jacket with the leather patches. He must be sophisticated.
Yeah.
He must be eloquent. He must be upwardly mobile within society.
Tonight we're going to my place.
Going to my place. It's like, yeah, we're going to drink and fuck and have all this fun. And they're eating like grizzled steak and bottom tier wine, that's been sitting out in the sun.
Rock lobster, not even Maine lobster.
Yeah, it's that Caribbean lobster stuff. You're thinking you're getting the North Atlantic tails, and it's just the black and orange kind.
God damn it.
It's like, these are the things I throw back. All right, moving on. White Tower.
Never heard of White Tower.
White Tower, well, there's a good reason. So White Tower, well, first, let me tell you about White Castle before we go into White Tower. So we're all aware of what White Castle is. It's essentially a slider-size square hamburger. White Castle was founded in 1921, and it has a very distinct look to their building, right? Their buildings are all built the same way. White square with the one part in the top, and they all have like the fortress toppings on there to make it look like a castle. Well, in 1922 came an imitator called White Tower that looks almost exactly like White Castle, except it doesn't have the pointy stuff on the top like castles do. So let's just build the building, but don't finish the top, and then we'll just call it White Tower instead of White Castle.
People will never know the difference.
Never know the difference. So what is the difference between the two? Not a lot. Sadly, it was just the concept of their fast food chain that was taken from White Castle. They changed the building look a little bit, but it was exactly White Castle. They found the distributors, they found the cooking styles, everything they did. They're like, we're just going to do that, but we're going to call it something else.
That's unusual. Like, you see that a lot with movies, like people ripping off successful movies and shit all the time.
Right.
But you don't see it a lot with restaurants where they're like, let's just do what they do. We'll call it White Tower. We'll say fuck the little castle shit up top.
I saw it with, in certain areas, there's a place called Kennedy Fried Chicken. White and red logo, everything. It looks exactly like KFC, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's called Kennedy Fried Chicken. You did see it in Coming to America with McDowell's. They have the golden arches. We have the golden arcs. And then the whole time, every time they talked to John Amos in that movie, it was always how he was just got off the phone with the lawyers from McDonald's because they were suing him over the Big Mac, and we call it the Big Mick. It's like, oh, come on. It's exactly the same. This is what's going on here. So White Tower took just about everything from the original White Castle except maybe their kitchen sink. White Tower went after their advertising methods, their style, and even the overall architecture for the building, making their food chain into something resembling an exact photocopy of the original. There were 230 locations in the 1950s. So White Castle starts in 21, they start in 22, and this lasts through the 50s. Like, I guess they really didn't have the legal system down to go after this stuff yet.
It almost seems like it's like a jilted business partner. Like, you know, one guy's like two guys who were supposed to start White Castle together.
Right.
One guy got fucking bumped out. He's like, fuck you then. I'll start White Tower.
Yeah.
You know, we'll steal your fucking advertising. We'll steal your fucking
It's like Ray Kroc came in and took it from the McDonald's brothers. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, yeah, you don't own any of this anymore. This is all mine.
Now it's mine.
Yeah. 230 locations in the 1950s, but many closed because of then legal action against them. What a surprise. The last location closed down, get this, 2004.
Wow,
I don't know where the last location was, but it took them that long to take the whole thing down. Almost 100 years we've been ripping off this other company, and we got to about 80-something years. I think we had a good run.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
And where were they? Do you know?
Let's see.
Because I never heard of them.
No, 230 locations. So you're assuming nationwide. Let me see. Let's see. White Tower. Oh, this is taking me to London. White Tower Hamburgers. Milwaukee, Wisconsin was the original. The chain was successful and expanded to other cities, including Chicago, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Dayton, Detroit, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, New York City even had it, which is weird. Albany, Boston, Richmond, Virginia, and as far south as Sarasota, Florida. They were sold for 5 cents a hamburger. Imagine just slapping $1 down and go, just give me
20 hamburgers.
That's your crave case, you know. The last location was in Toledo, Ohio, and that closed down in 2004.
Huh.
Interesting. There's no ads for this thing though, so you would think being around this long. But I guess television ads really didn't kick in until the 50s. There were no TV ads that I could find for White Tower. So
that's weird.
Just a note.
Because, I mean, that's still, even if it started in 1950, it's like that's a good nearly 6 decades for them to get their shit together. And get an ad.
Nothing. At least that I could find online. If somebody has one, please send it. We'd love to see how... Because to be fair, too, I don't see a lot of White Castle TV ads either. Like, once in a while you see it, but they don't advertise as much. They're just kind of known, and they go based on that. They're not pounding it into your head like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, that kind of thing.
All right.
Moving on. Gino's Hamburgers.
remember Gino's. It was like kind of like a Kentucky Fried Chicken thing, right?
It's exactly what it is. It's like a combo thing. So Gino's Hamburgers was opened by Football Hall of Famer Gino Marchetti in 1957. The sign is just, it's like a two-prong. Over here it says Gino's Hamburgers, and the other side had a rotating KFC bucket on there. So the chain started growing in popularity in the 1960s and became a culinary mainstay with its slogan, "Everybody goes to Gino's." Not long after the initial surge in popularity, Gino's had another growth spurt, expanding to over 300 locations, mostly on the East Coast. Gino's also opened locations in the Midwest, but unfortunately everything was short-lived. Eventually, the burger joint was sold to Marriott, which then converted all of the Gino's locations into Roy Rogers restaurants. Which makes sense, because Roy Rogers, they're probably going to be on this list too, but that they don't really exist anymore. There's a couple I think I heard like down in the Maryland, Virginia area, but up here they're just little fucking, nook restaurants at the truck stops, at the rest areas on the highways. They're not really a go sit down and eat it in a restaurant anymore.
Right.
I used to love Roy Rogers too, because you'd have hamburgers, they had the chicken, they had roast beef. It was like this and an Arby's mixed together was Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
And
I was never a fan of Roy Rogers. I don't know why. It's just like maybe because I didn't go there as a kid.
Right.
It was only later on as an adult that I discovered it, and I got skeeved out for some reason.
I can get that. It's a little greasy.
Yeah.
But I used to love their
like the roast beef. Same with Arby's. It's just like it's like tough. It's
not anymore. If you find an Arby's now and you go, it's pretty amazing. Served on the onion roll with melted cheese and the horsey sauce. But Roy Rogers used to go and then raid the Fixins bar. It was like your own little mini salad bar.
Yeah.
Steal all the pickles. Anyway, so yeah, Gino's was this burger place that had ties in with Kentucky Fried Chicken. So you would get probably one of the earlier incarnations of having a joint restaurant venture in the same venue. Like now, like Nathan's and Arthur Treacher's and a couple others are all owned by one company, and then Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, KFC, all like that are all under another company, so that you would have, like in the mall, you would have all their brands together in one kind of area of the food court. This was like an early adaptation of joint restaurant venues together. I've never seen that before until looking back at this seems like ahead of the curve on as far as doing all that.
Yeah, there are a couple. Like you'll see a Subway with something else. I can't remember what the other half is. I'm seeing it on a fucking any number of Parkway rest stops or Turnpike rest stops.
Right.
Subway and something else.
I have a Gino's ad for you if you want to take a look at that. Here we go.
We hear you got a real great burger.
We got great big hero burgers. We know just can't be beaten. They're fresh and made to order, just begging to be eaten.
Gino's makes them fresh for you. Kentucky Fried Chicken too.
So come on, everybody, won't you try them?
Gino's gives you freedom of choice.
Look how small the burger
Gino's
is.
gives you freedom of choice. Gino's gives you freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice.
The manager looked like a pedophile the way he was looking at those kids in the beginning. Did you see that?
Yeah, he had to.
He's like
leaning down in excitement, looking at them.
Yeah.
With that half wavy, half curly kind of 70s hairstyle that guys had back then, where they didn't know what it just needed to be big and luscious.
Yep.
Yeah, it is true. I was thinking back, it's like, how can you help me today?
Eyes are all wide and shit.
It's like, who wants the tour? Don't go on the tour. Like all the people in the back, like, don't go on the tour.
The tour hurts.
We'll never see these kids again. I never saw Gino's, never tried Gino's. You said you remember it. Had you gone? Did you say that you went or no?
No, I remember my friend Walt would go to Gino's. He told me about it, and I remember seeing the location.
Right.
But
did it have the big bucket rotating?
Yep.
It did? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's not something I would, I guess, is viewed as being cost effective anymore, but I would love to see that. If they had restaurants in there and had something moving out in the front like they used to, I'd be like, that's kind of cool. I think I want to go there.
Might catch your eye.
Yeah, why not? Moving on. This one is on the top of a lot of problematic lists. And this
I think I know what it is.
what do you think it is?
I'm going to go ahead and guess Sambo's.
It is Sambo's. Sambo's was founded in 1957 and experienced healthy growth on the West Coast. There were over 1,100 locations opened by the late 1970s. The name started to spread to the Northeast, where it became quite popular. That's not good. Although it's famous for its food, most people know Sambo's for the controversy surrounding its name. As you may not have known, the name Sambo is a derogatory term. While the company claimed the name was a derivative of the owner's name combined, so I guess two owners, it made people uncomfortable and therefore caused everyone to stop going to the restaurants.
That's crazy, man.
The business went bankrupt and attempted to rebrand themselves multiple times before eventually giving up and shutting down completely. The very last Sambo's was in Santa Barbara, California.
I remember reading that somewhere. I mean, people, like, how do you not know? Like, when you're like, hey, let's call it, what was it, 50s you said it opened?
Hold on a second. It opened 1957.
1957. I guess the country was still in a place where you could not...
Very white America still.
Yeah, and if you're the owners, you can be like, well, we're going to call it Sambo's because that's our name. And like, yeah, but what about Little Black Sambo? It's like, well, we're not talking about that.
They didn't expect racism to really kind of blow up in the next decade, when the 60s happened. And then the 70s was, all fires were burning for the racial equality movement. They were still in that kind of black and white Darren Stevens kind of world where it's like, what if we put, like the Looney Tunes old cartoons, what if we put this guy with a bone through his nose stirring a pot, and there's a guy kind of like coming out of the pot.
He's getting cooked.
Yeah, well, we just paint them on the windows in the front of the place. It'll be funny.
Yeah, the Sambo's thing, I never saw one.
Yeah, I've never saw it either. I've always heard of it, but I've never seen one.
I'm not aware if they were even in my area.
Yeah. There was...
I know they're big in California.
There is, I don't think anything specifically isolated, because it was never a segment on the show. But there's been plenty of times where we had to yell at Opie not to say that. Because it's like if Roland had a sandwich company coming in to bring us food or whatever was going on, and he'd go, hey, I want a couple Sambos, and you're like, oh, you can't say that. Like Ant was like, yeah, I don't really think you should be saying that. And like Jim or
Anthony saying that.
Yeah, Jim and Sam are just kind of going, it's like, you can't say that. Why? Back in the day, we used to call them, get a nice Sambo, and you're like, stop saying that. It's
not back in the day anymore.
Yeah, and you're on a commercial company. It's not like you're at Ant's Network where he doesn't give a shit anymore. But back then it's just like, dude, he thought, he's like, no, we used to call him, and he did it many times. Not like blatantly. Well, I mean, I guess it was, but not like all the time he would mention it. But anytime a sandwich discussion would come up, that would pop up. So I'm sure somebody can find it. I don't want to dig.
Talk about sandwiches around Opie. It's
yeah, but he would just bring that term up all the time. We're like, dude, you can't do that anymore. Anyway, so the Sambo Restaurant was, I guess, started off strong because it went to 1,100 locations, and then everybody went, oh yeah, this is racially a problem. They're probably, if you're dining there, black people getting upset, protesting, maybe throwing shit through the windows or trying to light them on fire.
I wonder if they considered rebranding.
They did, but they were all worse.
Sambo's forever.
Yeah, they were all worse choices. Like, how are you making this worse? All the ad agencies won't work with them, and they're like, did you see their list of ideas?
I think we got to close the restaurant. All 1,100 locations. But the one in Santa Monica, when did it close down? Because it wasn't that late. Was it in the 90s?
Did it say when these closed down? No, it didn't. Let me see if I can do a little bit more research here.
Yeah, I feel like it's later than you would think.
Okay. The wait, is this one saying it's still open?
Oh my god. Hope he's eating there right now.
He's investing in it. He's doing his podcast to nobody. He's doing a podcast no one listens to at a restaurant nobody goes to. That's it. That's perfect. That seems exactly what he would do. All locations except the first one in Santa Barbara either closed outright or were renamed after being purchased, effectively ending the chain's existence. So the Santa Barbara restaurant continued business under the Sambo's name until 2020, when it was then renamed to Chad's after the owner at the time. The George Floyd, this is never good to see this in there. The George Floyd protests against racism in the United States resulted in the owner of the restaurant changing the name of the establishment. So, all right,
that's what it took.
This is new information. Exactly. They were like, it's like, I'm going to ride this out. I'm standing my ground, and I'm not going to change the name of this thing. It is a beloved restaurant family chain that has been in my family since the 50s. I am not giving up on this. Wait, what happened in Minnesota? All right, yeah, we got to change the name.
It's called Chad's now.
They're going to kill us. We got
quickly before they break our windows. Put a Chad sign up.
They're not going to know where we are. It's online. Oh crap! They're going to come and get us. So yeah, had no idea. You were right. I thought they all closed down. So look at that.
That's even later than I thought. I thought it was like 90s into the early 2000s. But
right.
We're saying it was like last year.
Look, we were surprised that a company that was blatantly stealing from another company for 80-something years closed in 2004. That was surprising. The racist restaurant stayed open until Black Lives Matter made an actual issue, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We kind of have to change the name. Like, they were the last one standing. This is where our line is drawn. This is our beliefs.
I would love to know what the decor was when it opened versus when Chad quickly changed the name.
Yeah, I don't...
I saw things going south.
I don't... none of this makes sense.
No. Yeah, you would not think that it would take the George Floyd thing to get them to recognize that Sambo's is probably not the greatest name, and they should rebrand as whatever, even if it's Chad's, which is like arguably one of the worst male names.
They changed the name, and then the next weekend the protesters are back. Like, why are they back? And the sign's like, we know who you were. We know who you
Chad.
were.
There's no whiter name than Chad.
Get Chad. Well, there we go. I do have an ad for Sambo's Restaurant.
Oh, wow.
If you would like to see it, here we go.
I definitely would.
You can go to Sambo's day or night. The food is good, the price is right. You can eat dinner anytime.
And you can dine for $1.99 at Sambo's. Now, till May 11th, our dinner special is Sambo's all-beef chopped steak, chili and beans, soup or salad, dinner bread, beverage, and dessert. And that's a lot of good dinner for $1.99 at Sambo's.
Something good is always cooking at Sambo's.
Wow.
I want to hunt down that waitress lady.
Yeah.
And expose her as a racist.
They dig her up. They remove her headstone.
Yeah.
Do you know where she worked? I think she worked there
Another
6
place
months.
that it's like that you're like all that, like, because that looks 70s to 80s, that commercial.
Right.
How the fuck do you give away that much food for $2?
That's what I was thinking too. It's like, you get all this and this. By the way, first off, it's like our chopped steak. That's just hamburger meat. Chopped steak is hamburger meat. It's essentially like a Salisbury steak, which is just the gravy and I guess mushrooms or something that makes Salisbury steak. A chopped steak is they just took hamburger meat and flattened it out and grilled it that way, and that's considered a steak. That's not real steak. So, okay, maybe they're not. It's costing you $2 to eat because they're not giving you real steak. So it's not costing anything for them.
Yeah.
Hamburger meat, they were probably getting, like cows for $10, and you're grinding it up like it was so cheap. And the salad costs you probably nothing. And then
bread costs nothing.
Yeah. And then you get soup or chili or this or that, and then ice cream. I don't think for $2. And even then, you look at all this stuff and go, this kind of should be more than $2. You know, like it's not a $20 meal, but it should be more than $2. It's amazing where the prices have gone.
Adjusted for inflation, even if it was 10.
Yeah.
That's still like, wow, that seems cheap for all that food.
Yeah, if you go now for a steak dinner, your steak alone is anywhere from like $50 to $80.
Yeah.
And that's just the steak. You're not considering, the $15 to $25 sides that you're picking with this. Whatever you're drinking is not included. Your dessert's certainly not included. So, if you go to a steakhouse and for two, you're spending at least $200.
Yeah. It seems restaurants have gotten away from, like, let's just give everything away for free.
Yeah.
Like as a promotion. It seems like they've learned their lesson.
Well, if the inflation keeps getting worse, because it's, according to the news, the highest it's been in 40 years.
Right.
Like, that's not good. So if it keeps getting worse, I would like to see restaurants coming back. It's like people aren't going to dine anymore. Guess what? You get all your beer, wine, and sangrias for everybody. So, like, come back here. Check out our salad bar. Look at all the shrimp. I'd go. It's like, if you want to give me, I can get all this for $5. Definitely, I'll go there and then watch them collapse too because they're giving away everything for free because nobody wants to go there.
Inflation busters.
I have another Sambo's ad here for you.
Okay.
There is a place I love to go and Sambo's is its name. Oh, it's got good things to eat, and Sambo's is its name. Oh, S-A-M-B-O's, S-A-M-B-O's, and Sambo's is its name. Oh.
If you're 12 or under, you can join Sambo's Tiger Club. You get a free tiger mask when you sign up. A birthday certificate will be mailed to you for a free brownie, $1 worth of food, and your choice of one gift. Hand puppets, t-shirt iron-on, or coloring book. But you must be accompanied by an adult.
S-A-M-B-O's, and Sambo's is its name. Oh.
Jesus.
He looks like the Cheetos cheetah.
He does, and he was sounding like Groucho Marx, like he was ripping off a Groucho Marx impression for there. And I love how they said, you must have an adult. What kids are just going to a restaurant on their own to try to get the free iron-on decals or coloring book? You know how rare those things must be? Those products?
Those products that they gave away.
Probably. They're probably worth to a collector, they're probably worth a decent amount of money.
You don't want to be known as the Sambo's memorabilia collector.
Don't want to be known as the kid in the Sambo's commercial. Especially the black kid that they were tucking in the back there. Like, they didn't put a close-up on him at all. He was hidden between the tiger and the rest of the kids. They had the Hispanic kid up front, and they had him hiding in the back. He's like, yeah, look, we're all inclusive.
Now, the whole Sambo's thing, if I'm not mistaken, it's based on Little Black Sambo, who's ran around like tigers were chasing him, and he ran around in circles until they turned into buttermilk or something. Is that it?
Let's see. The story of Little Black Sambo is a children's book written by a Scottish person. As one in a series of small books called the Dumpy Books for Children. The story was popular for more than half a century. Critics of the time observed the Bannerman presents one of the black heroes in children's literature and regarded to. Now, this is all. Let's see what the plot is here. Sambo is a South Indian boy who lives with his father and mother named Black Jumbo and Black Mumbo.
Oh, God.
Respectively. While out walking, Sambo encounters 4 hungry tigers, and he surrenders his colorful new clothes, shoes, and umbrella so that they will not eat him. The tigers are vain, and each thinks that is better dressed than the other. They have a massive argument and chase each other around a tree until they are reduced to a pool of Ghee. Ghee?
Yeah.
Yeah,
ghee.
It says
Indians use it to cook.
All right, ghee. So it's
clarified butter, I think.
That's exactly what it says here. Ghee, clarified butter. Sambo recovers his clothes and goes home, and his father later collects the ghee, and his mother uses it to make pancakes.
That seems like a nice little story.
All right, so the story essentially, I guess, is fine. The controversy is the book's original illustrations were done by the author and were simple in style and depicted Sambo as a Southern Indian or Tamil child, T-A-M-I-L. Little Black Sambo's success led to many counterfeit, inexpensive, widely available versions that incorporated popular stereotypes of black people. One example was 1908 edition illustration, best known this guy for, all right, whatever. 1932, the Little Black Sambo. All right, here, 1932 was criticized Little Black Sambo as a typical pickaninny story. What is pickaninny? Let's see. Is a word originally by the people of West Indies to their babies and more widely referred to small children, as in Malaysian pigeon. It is a pigeon word from Portuguese. Okay, whatever. Storybook which was hurtful to black children, and gradually the book disappeared from lists of recommended stories for children. Wow, this was on your Scholastic book list back in the day. Yeah, I'm seeing some of the examples here, and it looks like somebody just took like a piece of black chalk and just scribbled all over it.
Yeah.
So which is weird because South Indian isn't black. And then it became.
I was going to say I didn't think so either. Are they darker skinned than?
Well, yeah, they're brown. You know, like if you see Indian people, Southeast Asian people. They're a browner color skin, but they're not black. So somewhere as time went on in the United States, of all places, the illustrations changed to him being a wildly stereotypical black child.
Yeah, like why? Like as the author, why couldn't you just call him Lil Sambo, and maybe drop the black in front of Mumbo and Jumbo? Like it's so unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't get it either, because the original illustrations, I guess, from one edition is an Indian kid with dressed up with his umbrella, and there's tigers and stuff, and it looks like appropriate to what the story is. But the other versions earlier in the 1900s stuff are just what you would call like minstrel shows,
right?
The exaggerated features and all of that. So yeah,
I think the main problem with the story is that we're led to believe that tigers like fine clothes.
Yeah, and turn into butter, usable, edible butter.
Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, those restaurants are gone. Moving on. There's no record of this because this restaurant didn't last too long. D-Lights, D''Lights. Was founded in 1978, and within less than a decade, the fast food chain had expanded to over 100 locations nationwide. Unfortunately, their success was very short-lived due to their inability to offer people healthier food options. So the one photo just shows this restaurant that have a salad bar, and I don't really know what the food is, but apparently, I guess it's like a burger place or something, but they refuse to change their menu. And, like in the late 70s, they started offering chicken sandwiches at burger places, and then eventually I think salads came into being in the 80s at fast food places. And they just were like, nope, we are staying with full grizzled, fat-driven foods and lard and all that. We are not changing anything. And then they went out of business. So,
D-Lights.
Yeah, most of their competitors were McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. Who all started offering healthier food choices, which left them lagging. And although they were miles ahead of the pack as far as non-healthy fast foods were concerned, it seemed that they lacked the foresight or the determinability to expand their menu to suit the blossoming healthy trends in the country. Eventually, the company could no longer keep up with their competition, so one by one, they closed all their locations. That's interesting. Yeah. Like, we're not fucking changing. I don't care what everybody else wants. We're not doing it. And then they just go away. It's like, well, I'm out of business.
Shit, I should have changed.
It's like, you could have kept all that shit. Just offer a salad. That's all it took. Some moms will come in and get the salad. Not everyone's going to buy it, but they see it, and that's all it takes. It's like people have the concept in their head that, there's some healthy food there. We'll still go eat there. If you're that sentiment, like we're adding more trans fats to all our foods, then you have a fucking problem. It seems very stubborn way to go.
Yeah.
We're seeing all kinds of weird failures here. Like they're hitting the scope of everything.
Yeah, like things you can point at and be like, well, if they only did this.
Like, well, they didn't, and here's what happened.
Yeah.
It's like this one just stole the entire corporate idea and lasted 80 years. This one went really racist, and they lasted that long. This guy didn't want to change at all, and he only lasted 10 years. Like we're seeing the gamut of all of this. Moving on.
That's a short lifespan for a restaurant. 10 years.
This restaurant is called Sandy's. Ever hear of a Sandy's?
I don't think so.
Sandy's first opened its doors in Central Illinois in 1956, established by 4 businessmen named Gus. Oh, well, who cares what their names are? Well, they're all Gus. Well, let's just say for the story, they're all named Gus. They're not, but it seems funnier that way.
4 Gus's.
4 Gus's. In the Midwest, Sandy's was the ancestor to the Hardee's chain. Originally, the 4 owners wanted to open McDonald's franchises, but because the area they were going for was too high in traffic, which resulted in higher fees to pay, they decided not to pursue their idea. Instead, they ended up opening a new chain of burger joints, which they made to imitate their competitors. This seems to be the thing. If you can't beat them, steal their shit.
Yeah.
You know? So they're looking at the photo here for the Sandy's. It looks like the old McDonald's, the way they were kind of like a car hop kind of thing. Sandy's lasted for a good 20 years before McDonald's eventually took them over and shut Sandy's down.
McDonald's was a fucking juggernaut, man. I mean, still is. But.
Yeah. Like there's some companies that if you want to talk Illuminati stuff, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, they're never going anywhere. There's just too much to them that they'll never disappear. I do have a Sandy's ad here for you we can look at.
Nice.
The naked truth about a Sandy hamburger. Strip away its toasted sesame bun, onion, crisp lettuce, and pickles. Strip away its ripe tomato, cheese, and mayonnaise. And what have you got? Just another hamburger? You've got a burger that's a full quarter-pound of pure chopped beefsteak, grilled to perfection. And that's the naked truth.
So,
division of Hardee's.
The what?
Said a division of Hardee's.
Yeah, so it became Hardee's, or the company formed at that point. I noticed a lot of these old ads, they keep saying beefsteak, like the last one we saw. It's like certified beefsteak. It's chopped hamburger. That's it. It's not steak at all.
Yeah, the voiceover guy sounds like he should be doing movie trailers.
Well, he was probably like he worked at a burlesque house, because the whole ad was about stripping away, blah blah. You know, up until a certain year, maybe even the 70s, they weren't even allowed to say bathroom or toilet.
Yeah, even the music. Can you play that one again?
Yeah, give me a second. You can go back to that.
The naked truth about a Sandy hamburger. Strip away its toasted sesame bun, onion, crisp lettuce, and pickles. Strip away its ripe tomato, cheese, and mayonnaise. And what have you got? Just another hamburger? You've got a burger that's a full quarter-pound of pure chopped beefsteak, grilled to perfection.
Beefsteak.
That's the naked truth.
You're right. It's very sexualized.
Yeah, it's like a stag film. The way they did it, it sounds like the old stripper music. It's like you take this away, and what do you got? Raw, naked beefsteak. And again, up until like the late 70s, they couldn't say toilet. They couldn't say bathroom. Like water closet was a problem. You know, the Brady Bunch. Their bathrooms had no toilets, which was always a joke. Because having a toilet on TV was considered taboo or inappropriate, you know? And then when, like, Norman Lear came around, when they did All in the Family, they couldn't show the bathroom scenes or whatever. So once they were allowed to push the limits a little bit, what did they do? Archie, someone such is here, and they would cut to the stairs, and you'd hear the toilet flush. You know, like that was their thing, like because you weren't allowed to talk about bathroom habits or anything for decades up until that point, So they were going to grossly overuse it because now they were pushing the boundaries of that. And he would say turlet with his weird accent, put the turlet there.
What was that, Queens or Brooklyn?
Queens.
Queens they lived in?
Yeah, they were, what was I used to know their address. I forgot, but yeah, they were in Queens. Something going on? Are you getting swatted?
Whole bunch of it looks like it. There's a whole bunch of emergency vehicles outside.
I hope so. I mean, not hope so. I hope not. I meant to say. It's like, yes,
funny if I got swatted
coming into plan. Yeah, it's Impractical Jokers. They're filming right there. That was part of their new direction since Joe
got
left.
A boot on my neck.
It's like, let's swat Brian. Okay.
Let's swat people, yeah.
Forgetting that you are a home legal go-nunner. All right.
To shoot out with the SWAT team.
I have another Sandy's commercial if you want to look at a different perspective.
It's sexy as the last one.
Not really. Well, maybe. Depending. It could be. Let's take a look. Right here.
Big Scott, Big Scott.
Big Scott.
Sandy's Big Scott. When you're hungry for something giant size, Sandy's Big Scott takes a prize. It's bigger than most, better by far, makes all the others taste subpar. Big Scott.
Big Scott, Big Scott.
Sandy's Big Scott.
Big Scott.
It's a giant of a meal.
Weird, right?
It's funny how
but that's the McDowell's McDonald's thing. Right there where they're doing the Big Scott instead of the Big Mac, which is MAC, which is Irish. Mick MC Donald's, which is Scottish. So they went for the big. That's probably where Coming to America, the writers got that from. Now that I'm thinking about it, because the Big
Sandy's.
Scott.
Yeah,
Big Mac, Big
sense.
Scott. It's such simple, subtle wordplay, but that's exactly what it is. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, nothing.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, I saw up his kilt. No Big Scott up there.
I know what I was saying. I was saying it's funny like how when they want to convey how hardy it is, they'd make the voices real deep like this. It's the Big Scott.
Yeah, it's that old country trope. Big John, like that guy. 6 foot forward, Big John. That style of is that like a Jimmy Dean style country music? He was like that weird storytelling Western music, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He would talk his way through it.
Talk his way through it, bone, Big Scott. Like. All right. Moving on. Wimpy's.
Wimpy's, I vaguely remember. I may have seen commercials for it.
Okay.
I mean, I very vaguely remember it, but I've never been to one, and I don't think there were any around us.
Wimpy's, the brand was established in 1934 in Bloomington, Indiana. The front shop was established in the first shop front, was established in Chicago that same year. 1954, Wimpy's was introduced to the United Kingdom as Wimpy Bar. Let's go to the Wimpy Bar. That sounds manly. Have a couple pints down at the Wimpy Bar. The chain quickly expanded into a massive 1,500 locations nationwide. Wow. I'm sorry, not nationwide, worldwide. Wimpy, the name was inspired from Wimpy from the Popeye cartoon, which was created by E.C. Segar. Sadly, all the Wimpy locations in the United States started going under after the death of the owner. While the rights and trademark were never purchased from the owner after the owner's death, they are still some locations open in the UK. So nobody owns the name. They just let the name and the copyright or trademark, whatever, go. And some of the restaurants just took it upon themselves. They're like, no, we're still calling this. We own it now.
Yeah, like fuck it, man. We got hamburgers to sell,
and we're in a different country, so who gives a fuck? The ads I found online seemed to be all the British ones, and they were kind of dumb. But I found, I think this was an American one here that we can watch. Yeah, this is an American one right here.
Come on over to my place. Hey you, we're having a Wimpy. We'll be shaking, grilling, and for tonight. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That did not look good.
No, and it's weird that like they're making like the commercial is based on it being a date and a big night and all this other shit, and it's like it's a fucking fast food place.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a date thing, you got to make it like driven towards teens. You know, like they used to do the burger and the malts. You know, go get a milkshake and French fries and that kind of presentation. You don't do it as like a late 20s, early 30s something date. Like we're having a lunch date at Wimpy's. Even though the song sucked, the logo sucked, like everything about this sucked. Yeah, but everything about this is terrible. Like it fits the name. Like everything about this was wimpy. The food probably is wimpy. The lettuce looks wimpy. Everything is just wimpy, and it's really kind of depressing. Yeah, come over and eat at Sadness is what the place should be.
Go.
All right. I guess we can wrap up round 2 here with this next one. Well, actually, one is a story, one is the commercials here. So we got these 2 left then. One is called Wetsons. You ever hear of a Wetsons?
No.
All right. Reading Wetsons slogans, look for the orange circles and buy a bag full might make you feel a bit of deja vu. Nope, never heard of it. Especially if we remind you the very similar pre-existing slogans of McDonald's and White Castles respectively. So here's another company that was just stealing from other people. Overall, Wetsons was a mixture of all the fast food joints put together. Wetsons, because it was a mixture of everything, it quickly started to gain popularity, and the company grew with over 70 locations at its peak. Wetsons was named after its founder, Herbert Wetson. In 1975, the Mishmash Company merged with the hot dog chain Nathan's Famous, but the brand was eventually shut down altogether by the Nathan's Company. So there was a big bright orange sign outside that said 15-cent hamburger over at Wetsons. Never heard of the Wetsons. I don't know if they were ever in this area. Does not sound familiar. But eventually Nathan's bought them and then shut them down. Now, we're going to end with this one because there's so much more to go. But there is a company called Noggles out in California.
Noggles?
Noggles. Naugles.
All
right. So Noggles was a Southern California fast food chain of Mexican restaurants established in 1970. Noggles was founded by former Del Taco partner Nick Nagel. So this could be, remember, I think you mentioned earlier about like partners splitting up and they just opened up another one in spite of the original business kind of thing. This could have been that. So, yeah, here we go. The first restaurant was in Riverside, California. The chain's motto was prepare food fresh, serve customers fast, keep place clean. That seems a bit wordy for your slogan for your place. You know, half a sentence, maybe 2 words. That's all you need for the buzz. It's like, oh, they prepare food fresh, serve the customers fast, and keep the place clean. It's like, I don't want to sing that. I don't want that on the T-shirt. I don't even want to go to this place now, just to spite it. After a while, Noggles merged with Del Taco. So the guy left Del Taco, formed this company, and then wound up merging with Del Taco and changed its name to Del Taco for the majority of the store locations. Now, there are only 2 locations open in the areas of Fountain Valley and Huntington Beach, California. In 2015, a revived Noggles chain was established by this guy, Christian Zybarth, after he discovered that the trademark had been abandoned by the original successor. So the whole branding and the trademark and everything was just abandoned and was sitting there for grabs. He bought it up and then just opened the restaurants again. Maybe we should do that.
We could be fucking moguls.
Let's go open White Tower now and really promote the White Tower.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why do you keep saying it that way? Why do they keep saying it that way? What? It's White Tower. No. They keep saying White Tower.
Like they really put the emphasis on the white.
There's like a pause, a dramatic pause. Looks like that's the thing from Lord of the Rings with the eye looking down at you. Like, what's going on here? Anyway, so for Noggles, there's a couple of commercials here. They seem to be very punny. Like, they're big with puns as far as their ads go.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the first one.
July 4th, this place was a madhouse. All these guys are running around in their cute little white wigs. But at noon, they stopped because I, Senor Noggles, was serving my burrito ranchero platter. A big tortilla filled with beef topped with my special sauce served with beans and salad. I said whoever eats the most signs his name the biggest. You can still see a little sauce by John Hancock's name.
Try the legendary burrito ranchero of Senor Noggles.
I just want to apologize to Gabby for showing that commercial.
Yeah, he's not even like
it's a cartoon.
He's not even like the Dos Equis guy, where he's the most interesting man in the world. Like, he's like majestic and mysterious and refined and sophisticated. He's you ever see the movie UHF?
Yeah.
Raoul's Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, today we're teaching poodles how to fly, and you're like, oh my god, he's really over the top. He's like, put one of those Mexican blankets, put one of them on here, and just have him read puns. Want another ad? Apparently, this was a popular advertising campaign because there were several of them. But here's another one for you.
Was it?
Here's another one for you.
One day, Bonnie and Clyde said to me, Senor Noggles, what do we have to do to get a real Mexican taco? Rob a bank? No, I said, I'll sell you my crisp taco for 69 cents. 69 cents for a crisp tortilla filled with my seasoned ground beef, lettuce, cheese, and of course, I put tomatoes on my tacos. At 69 cents, Bonnie and Clyde thought my crisp tacos were a steal, so they stole them.
Senor Noggles crisp tacos, 69 cents for a limited time only.
Today we're taking you
Set him up to take his taco. It was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. I'm surprised he wasn't full of bullet holes with the car. You know, that's a big scene at the end of the movie where they're all just shot. If you want for next time, I'll find more Senor Noggles taco commercials. But
I gotta say, I kind of like him.
I do too.
Like him throughout history, like in different. Like
I like that they do it as a series.
Yeah.
Like when you do ads, like three things they can bring back. One is the Miller, like the sports bar kind of thing. Two, the fast food where they're doing the song and dance number just because it's so ridiculous. But three, when they have a series of commercials where he's telling a different story, you kind of look forward to, like, oh my God, there's a new commercial. There's a new one. You want to see the next one in the series of it.
Kids, Senor Noggles is on.
Oh, Erik? What? It's like, no. Oh, wait, maybe is it? I don't know. I should do that. If that license is flying around, maybe I just change it to Senor Nagels.
There you go.
And I just start doing really inappropriate pun work.
Wearing a sombrero.
Sitting here at this intersection in Minneapolis on the day. No, cut. Not doing that. What?
Don't do that voice. Why are you doing that voice? It's Senor Nagel.
No, it's not the voice. It's the location and the and what you're about to imply happened here back in 2020. It's like, oh, okay, not doing that. Sorry.
So I guess you got a problem with the brown face too, huh?
I remember it was a nice clear day back in 2001. My family and I were going to New York. No, cut! It's like, what? That's how it is. I just keep showing up at tragic locations.
Majestically flying in the sky.
Iron birds, as my ancestors used to call them. Ancestors? The plane's only like 120 years old. What are you talking about? Here am I. Here I am in the 1930s at this airstrip out here in New Jersey. This blimp is about to. No, cut. Zeppelin 1, 2. Not doing this.
All the humanity.
Come to Senor Nagels for all the humanity.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.